Hello everyone, my name is Steven Steele and welcome back to the World of Tanks channel. Today we'll be going over the test server's new content, which includes, primarily this tank and the whole line leading to it, the new Czechoslovakian medium tanks. To those of you that know this, there's already a Czechoslovakian tank out there, but it's, you can't see it right here. It's a tier 6 premium vehicle you can buy on the live server. And here you have the first line, starting at the Kolohausenka, well, whatever you pronounce it. Some of these tanks looks very much like German tanks in the game already. In fact, up until tier 8, they feel pretty the same. And tier 7 is basically a T-34-85 like the Russians. It even looks like one, as you can see here. But yeah, I've been looking at the higher tier mostly because those seem pretty interesting to me, seeing as they are actually different. And this is the tier 10 Czechoslovakian medium tank. So as you'll probably know, the new tier 6 premium has already been brought out. It was a medium, so obviously the first line is going to be a medium line. And you get 5 interesting modules here. Well, the radio is obviously not very interesting, but it has 850 signal range, which is actually really good, so no problems there. But let's get to the stats real quick. First of all, it has 1800 hit points, which is the lowest actually you can get, along with the bat chat, which is a bit too bad, but yeah, you can deal with it. And it gets armor like the Leopard does. This is all very poor armor, 65 upper plate, something like that on the lower as well. I don't know if it's exactly 65, but it's something like it. So do not expect a single bounce. Maybe in these type of angles, yeah, that's when you can bounce. But other than that, this is paper. Turret is paper as well, 120. It's pretty weak. All of this is going to get auto-pent except for these very extreme angles on the left and obviously on the right as well. Maybe on like the top corners here as well, but there's a cupola here, so if this gets hit, it is pretty flat, as you can see. Only thing that's good about the turret is the gun mantlet, and the gun mantlet is actually really damn good. It's like Russian levels, so forget about penning the gun mantlet. That's not something you want to try. But yeah, let's move on to the rest of the tank. So, bad hit points and bad armor, what does it get in return? Well, first of all, it weighs 40 tons, and it gets a 1000 horsepower engine, this engine is insane. This engine is ridiculous. Its power to weight is basically 25. And it gets even better. What a lot of people don't even notice is the 10% chance of fire on impact. That is ridiculous. That is so much better. Like, all the other tanks get like 12 or 15%. This thing gets 10%. I'm pretty sure there are other 10% engines, but I mean, seriously, it's so nice to have this. I've not been lit on fire a single game yet, which is very nice. You get a 320 alpha damage gun, which is pretty standard for a medium, well, for the Russian ones, and so the Czechs have it as well, apparently. And you might realize the 8.14 rate of fire feels like a really bad value, right? Well, this is an autoloader, so be prepared for some insane damage. 100 caliber gun, 100 millimeter, has 4 shells with a 1.5 second reload in between each shell, which is ridiculous. Other autoloaders get like 2.5 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, something like that. 1.5 is insane, and you'll see it in the replay that I have coming up for you as well. Like, this gun unloads ridiculously fast. Unloading the full clip then gives you a 25 second reload, which is pretty good. You can actually improve it with ventilation. The premium consumable, which is the Buchi in this case, or Buchti, I don't know, I have no idea what the hell to pronounce it. And you can obviously get Brothers in Arms to improve your crew even more. Penetration, this is a bit weak. 248 is pretty low, but it's better than a Batchat, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, these autoloaders always have mediocre penetration if they're capable of doing damage this fast. So you can't really complain about this value, and in general it's good enough. You can of course load heat, it will have 310 penetration. You would want to shoot flat areas with it because it's heat, it gets no normalization, but still it's a pretty good amount of pen, I think. Accuracy 0.35, which is pretty good, and an excellent 2.1 second aiming time, especially when you realize you cannot mount a gun rammer on this, so you can instead get a gun laying drive or ventilation or both. And when you have both of these, this tank can aim like so insanely well and so fast as well, especially with this premium consumable on top of it. So there you go. Speaking of which, I am using ventilation, vert stabs, and gun laying drive. So yeah, that's probably what I would recommend as well. Important to note, it has 410 view range on this vehicle, so with just the premium consumable, ventilation, and something like situational awareness, you can get the max view range. So coated optics are not that necessary, and you don't need a fire extinguisher that badly because the engine only has this whopping 10% of going in to a fucking fire rage mode. So yeah, pretty good overall. So you're pretty much a Leopard with an autoloader. That's what I've concluded so far. But yeah, enough talking in the garage. I want to really show you the gameplay of this thing and give you a good feeling of what it's about. One more thing about the stats though, as you can see, the top speed is 60, which is slightly below Leopard and the AMX 30B, but pretty good for a medium nonetheless. And it has 54 traverse speed, which is insanely good. This power to weight, top speed and traverse is like a godly combination, and you'll see it in the replays as well, which are coming up right now. So yeah, let's get into the games, guys. So here's the first game that I have for you guys. As you can see, I'm just looking around how the vehicle looks, and I'm looking at how the performance and the mobility will be and how the gun feels upon moving. It seems to have pretty reasonable soft stats. So yeah. Gun elevation seems pretty good. As you can see, the gun depression is 8 degrees, by the way, which you can see right here. It's reasonable enough. It's pretty standard for mediums to have 8 to 10 degrees, so it's not a special value, but it will do the job for you. Quick disclaimer about this game. I am not going to take the game as serious as I would on a normal game. I was kind of just driving around, having a feeling for this tank's mobility, and just look at how insanely fast it is. And on this hard terrain, how quickly it turns as well. You'll see it like in right now. Look at this fucking traverse speed. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm the first to get into the city, which is pretty logical because, well, I'm a really mobile medium tank. This thing is so fast, it's insane. And as I'm backing up right here and I'm testing out this traverse speed, you can just see how incredibly good it is. And right now, I will see that tree falling and I realize it's a bad chat. My brother, basically, brothers in autoloader. He takes a significant hit and look at how quickly I put out the damage on him. Holy crap! 320 per shot, 1.5 second reload in between the shots. I just blew him away after my friend, which I'm pretty sure was Yakpans or a Death Star or something like that, got a very meaty shell into him as well. I'm checking out where I got shot, but I can't really find it, and I'm still checking out the tank itself, obviously, as well. I'm reloaded, and 25 seconds, especially with the premium consumable and the ventilation and pros and arms if you have it as well, it will be around 21 seconds at best, I think, and that is pretty damn good for a clip that does 1280 total damage. So yeah. Being damaged though, I kinda don't want to take a ridiculous risk. They have some pretty nasty guns out there. They have a Fudge and a E3, so I kinda don't want to YOLO, and they have a Death Star as well, so I won't be playing too aggressive here. As I said, I'm just checking out the tank and the mobility and how quick this autoloader can dish out the damage. I think this tank can legitimately brawl with some tanks if you just unload and get the hell out, really. You can argue that it's not really brawling if you're not actually taking any shots whatsoever, but that's kind of how I view the tank right now. I'm just looking for some shots, but at the same time I don't want to play aggressive. They have more tanks here and I kind of am still just trolling around, figuring out how good the tank really is. With that said, you can see the aiming time and the aiming spread is very nice here. I got the first shot off real quick. Second shot just barely doesn't get him. The third shot doesn't go in, and the shot on the FV is quite tricky. I fuck it up, so yeah, that was my clip. I only hit one shot, but then again, this clip doesn't have a ridiculous reload or whatever. It's not the end of the world. If you miss a few shots, you can just back out. As long as you have good cover to sit behind, you're gonna be fine, and you're gonna go to find your next target. One thing I do have to remind you though, the penetration is not very good, so shooting at targets like a mouse, that can be pretty iffy. You'll need to get his side, or maybe, well, the turret front is 240, so technically you can pen that, but the slightest bit of bad luck and you won't then. These shots, however, are pretty much flat on the side. That last shot was a bit bad, but then again, it's test server, so it's a little bit laggy sometimes, and that last shot went in really nicely, so you can see if you get the mouse side flat, you're gonna have no trouble penning it, and this gun, once it does get the chance, it will unload really quick, so I'm going to reposition. This tank is insanely fast at repositioning. This is way faster than any other medium I've ever played in terms of repositioning, and I'm also reloaded already, so there we go, another clip. Penetration, another, and a track, so I get another free shot, and I get another free shot. I just did 1280 technically damage to him. I'm not even sure if I got high or low rolls because I can't check with my XVM, but I just did that amount of damage to him in like, what, 5 seconds, and he couldn't do anything about it. It was ridiculous. And look at my reload. I'm like 70% loaded already. It's so insane. This gun is just a joy to play with, and I would totally recommend this tank for anyone that likes autoloaders like a Batchat. It's a bit of a different feeling because you don't have the same instant damage, but still. I just look at how the mouse gets obliterated. I even set him on fire there, so that made it pretty insane how easily I got the DPM off with this. But yeah, you can shoot like people so well. Just unload a bunch of shots into them from close range or even at long range. This gun is accurate. You can see the aim time and the accuracy. It's really not that bad. But yeah, this game is pretty much to an end. I'm gonna find their E3 here at the end, but right as I get here, I will watch him die by my team, so I don't get the kill. So here's the second game. This time we're playing on Limburg. This game I'm gonna be less derpy. Last game I was obviously just derping around a bit, but this game I want to show you a more actual normal medium tank game. Something you can expect to do on this tank most likely. And I mean, the tank is not quite like a Leopard or like a 30B or a Centurion or something where you can snipe from like 400 meters. The 0.35 accuracy is really good, but probably not good enough for that range. And the penetration is a bit lower as well, but it does feel like the tank can relatively easily do damage from anything. Well, at anything within 350 meters will probably be fine. And the shell speed on this thing is pretty decent, but not as good as those others I just mentioned, so that might hurt it a little bit as well. So here you see the first spot I'm taking. Not entirely hull down, but somewhat. The tank is not really made for it. Well, now I'm not hull down anymore, but the tank is not really made for its armor. But then again, the gun mantle is really good, so if you can sit hull down, it's pretty good. And there we go, the first guy, I got a shot on him. As you can see, cheek of the turret there, just besides the gun mantle, there is no armor there. It's 120. It's not flat, it's a bit angled, but if you hit it at least somewhat reasonably, it's gonna pen. And look at this, just look at this, watch. 1, 2, 3. By the time he realizes what happened, I put 3 shots into him. If I had a 4th shot there, I would have put that into him as well, and he is dead already. But that's the amount of damage this tank can put out in such a short amount of time. It's insane. It's so insane. It's so fun to play with, and even in these slightly hilly areas with not a lot of hard terrain, you can still turn and move around really nicely and just reposition yourself. Prepare for your next clip, and as you can see, I'm already reloaded. This guy pops around the corner, first shot goes into him, second shot actually tracks and damages him, and third shot finishes him off. That's also power of the autoloader, track somebody and take him down completely. And I mean, you saw the angle there, but even with that angle, tracking and damaging the tank is really easy because this tank has no armor. This is like a Leopard. You just shoot somewhere on the hull and you will pen unless you get like a ridiculously stupid angle. So I think by now you will kind of realize what the idea behind this tank is. You quickly get to somewhere, you peek over a hill or something or out of a bush, you shoot somebody 4 times in the time where they can react and only fire like once. They cannot fire more than once back. Even a Batchat cannot, even another tank with an autoloader, because this autoloader is twice as fast at unloading as other autoloaders are, which is quite a significant difference. And if you catch people off guard that do not have the health to survive your autoloader, you can literally just sit there and shoot them and kill them. And this tank, the gun is just accurate enough. Look at these shots as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Killed. And at what? 350, 400-ish meters? No problem. The gun aims fast. And despite the fact that it like shoots every 1.5 seconds, which is really fast for an autoloader, you still have the aim time, like 2.1 seconds with a gun lane drive and the good cruise skills and stuff is almost gonna be 1.5 seconds. So you can pretty much fully aim like most of your shots, if not all of them. And you could of course wait for like 0.1 or 0.2 longer, but you could just unload like I just did and have like a 90% chance of hitting him anyway. And that's kind of what I've been doing. Now, this game kind of turned into a complete slaughter, so yeah, it's not going to be impossible for me to do a ridiculous amount of damage, but I think you still got the point of this tank, and here you'll see a pretty spectacular ammo rack. Kaboom. Explosions for the win. And just see this aiming time, it's so insane, just look at it. And the second shot, so well aimed already, and I shoot and I hit him and we get the kill. I'm reloading, so I'm not going to get this E100, so I'm not going to bother you with that. So yeah, what have we learned today? Well, first of all, do not fuck with the new Czechoslovakian tanks. At least not this one. It's brutal, really. This tank, you've seen the gameplay. You drive around, you find enemies out of position, or even if they're not out of position, you just unload on them. They get blown away. It's insane, really. This horsepower with this weight, the tank is incredibly mobile. That's a really fun gun to play with. In my opinion, this is really a very fun vehicle. It is obviously on a test server, so it might get nerfed later, but so far I really enjoyed it, and I do hope that they're not going to nerf it any at all. I mean, seriously, I think this tank is amazing. But yeah, I think you've got the point of the tank. It's basically mixed between a Batchet and a Leopard, or rather, it's a Leopard with an autoloader. It does incredible amounts of damage in short times, and then it just repositions and does it again to somebody else. And if they cannot spot you, there's not much they can do. And if they do spot you, I mean, what are they going to do? You do 1280 damage, they do like 440 or 490, depends on their alpha, and then that's it. You just go to another zone and you fuck up somebody else. So yeah, verdict, this tank is incredibly good and in my opinion really fun to play. So if you're looking forward to these tanks, well, I have good news for you. They are really nice. I would definitely, if I was you, check out the test server as well. Try them out because I think they're really, really good. And yeah, I think you got the picture of how this tank works. So hope you guys enjoyed this preview video. It's the first one I ever did. So if you have any comments on what you thought about it, then please leave them so I can maybe improve upon the next time, and we'll see each other on the next video then.